Hi everyone, I hope you can see me, hear me. If yes, just a very quick yes, if you can. I was having a little bit of technical issues. My laptop's camera was not working, so I had to change it. Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. I am hoping that you guys are able to see me and hear me, and then we will start. Okay. Still no confirmation. If you guys can see me, then please type. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, guys. So the objective of this short live chat is fairly simple. I'm going to speak about 5 or 6 key points, mostly about the impact of 2025 budget on the stock markets and especially the type of stocks that you're holding. Okay. Even before I state those 5 important points, the big macro that you need to understand is that see in India, India is primarily a trading market right now. It's not an investing market because FIIs have been withdrawing money out of India. I don't think that that trend is likely to change. Please do not worry. I will address that equation as well. But at this point, we are likely to see a lot of uh, moving out of money from some sectors and that money going into other sectors. So this is nifty management, which has been fairly active over the last 2 3 years in India, and this is only going to accelerate. Okay, so now how is this different? This is different from the fact that many of us think that what, sirf we'll buy like some handful of really good stocks, we'll hold it for the next 10 years and paisa hi paisa hoga. It's not going to work that way. You will have to unfortunately learn to swing trade the Indian market sensibly. I'm just giving you facts. Okay, SIP का craze इतना ज़्यादा बढ़ चुका है, इतना ज़्यादा बढ़ चुका है, and if you somehow believe, right, that what, okay, SIP is a kind of a amrit, right, which you drink and you forever mint wealth, it's not going to happen. That's my primary impressions. Now, without boring you, there are 5 key things that have happened in the budget from a stock market perspective. Number one, change in tax slab. So, everyone understands now that the income tax will be zero, or rather, the tax will be zero up to an income of 12 lakhs. There are some caveats to it. I'll not get into the CA side of it. Okay, वो आपने CA से पूछ लेना that what is going to be the exact impact. This is the broad semantics around it. It is going to have massive impact on the market. In fact, it already had a good impact on the market. I will take you through it. Number two, I'm going to speak about FMCG, consumer durables type of stock. They have also been up. I'll speak about the third key thing, which is around the capital expenditure of the government, because the last 3 years or the last 2 to 3 critical budgets, the focus was on government spending, but now the focus seems to be shifting towards private spending. Okay, so this is a very big change. Again, stocks like railways, stocks like defense, they are going to get negatively impacted. So please listen to this section. Fourth, there has been a hike in FDI, foreign direct investment, up to 100% in insurance. As a result, we saw that some stocks, especially hospital stocks, started to run. This trend is kind of a secular growth trend because whenever the insurance companies get organized, that actually benefits the hospital or healthcare industry overall from a money making perspective. Fifth and finally, I'll speak about overall macros because a lot of points were there that what, the that India's economy is not growing, our GDP is slowing down. So will this budget change? So these are 5 critical points that I'll speak about, and finally I'm going to help you understand what is it that I'm going to do after this budget. Also, if you're new, right, and if you are if you intend to learn more about stock markets, I would really encourage you to be a part of my member community. I see a lot of members here. They have had a great learning experience, and in case you want to learn things systematically, there is a lot of useful information that I give out on my member community. So let's begin. And first point is the tax change. So abhi tak hota ye tha ki approximately like 6.5%, 6.66% of our population used to pay direct income taxes. Okay, जो tax filing करते थे. Now out of 6.66, majority of them just used to file the taxes, but they did not used to pay the taxes. Approximately 2% actually ended up paying income taxes in India. Now with this increase in the limit, कि 12 lakh tak the taxes are exempted, this number of actual pay people or the base of taxpayers is going to shrink. Now, is this a good thing in the long term? No. Is this a good thing in the short term? Yes. Now, why am I saying it? This is an important point because logical, right? And Yeah, guys. So I sold DMart. I also bought that Nestle. So it has been up like 7, 8, 9% in the last 2 days. So it's ऐसा नहीं होता कि आपने DMart बेच दिया तो आप लुट गए बर्बाद हो गए. That's the only stock on your portfolio. Be a little bit sensible. Okay. So anyways, coming back to the topic, that okay. 12 lakh tak income is free. There are some caveats associated with it. Now, as a result, right? I mean, the short-term positive impact of this is that all the consumer-driven stocks are up. For example, जिसमें भी small ticket spent होता है, those are exceptionally up. For example, Zomato, Swiggy have been up. I still have Zomato in my portfolio. I sold Swiggy some bit, rotated that capital into, I sold Zomato. I rotated that money into Swiggy CCPS, and they have been significantly up now, right? आज ही शायद 7-7.5% बढ़ा, 7 to 8% is up, both Swiggy and Zomato. Okay, so why? Because of course, like I mean, as now if the exemption limit is up, then what is going to happen is very simple, that people are going to have more discretionary income, right? They are going to save like whatever 40,000-50,000 rupees, and that becomes discretionary, additional discretionary income that they can go and spend on in the economy. So this will result in increase in private spending. This is a major shift that is happening in the economy, and this is very good in the short term. Therefore, we saw auto stocks, for example, Maruti Suzuki going up. We saw Swiggy, Zomato going up. We saw card companies, for example, SBI cards going up, Dream Folks going up. So all these companies have been growing, right? Asian Paints also went up. Why? Because of this discretionary income thing. Okay. Now, again, a slight shift here is, or additional point to be noted here is, let's see, if we actually think about it, that what people would typically be making like 12 lakhs or less, and what their first spend is going to be. You can start deciphering a lot of stocks, right, which will kind of benefit from this move. And in the short term, this is a very positive thing. Okay, so this is one, and इसमें ना youth पे impact बहुत पड़ेगा, especially people who are in that in the 35 to below range, क्योंकि mostly उस segment में the salary range वालों को काफी फर्क पड़ेगा, right? I mean, because they are getting that additional cushion, right, and additional discretionary income, and one जैसे gym memberships and all that, उसमें फर्क पड़ सकता है, right? So this is one, right, which I feel is a positive move. Long term में this is not a good move, right? This is not a sustainable move, that you decrease your tax base to begin with. Okay. Number 2 point is, I have been saying, like, please watch my last 3, 4, 5 videos. I have categorically said that FMCG stocks or consumption driven stocks in India are likely to do better. Why? Because number one, sentiments were really bad on consumption stocks. For the last 1 odd year, like stocks like HUL, Nestle, they have fallen quite a lot. Asian Paints has done really badly. Consumption cycle has been really bad. Recently, like I mean, 6 months ago, Volta started running. So वो दिख रहा था कि consumption is going to be back, right? And the first major move has been made in this budget, where they have cut the, or rather, allowed people up to 12 lakhs of income not to pay any taxes. So this is the first move. Now, additional move will come, right, around the first week of Feb, right, 7th or 8th को meeting है, where it is. I'm speculating with all of you, but I feel that the interest rates are also going to get cut. So that is when we are likely to see a banking rally also. Okay, so this is like my viewpoint. Of course, I can be wrong. Everyone can have their own viewpoints, but there is no reason why they will keep the interest rates same. India may consumption or growth rate has been slow. So accelerating that growth rate will comprise of 2 bits. The first bit was done today, which is giving some kind of tax exemption. And second bit will be cutting off interest rates. That will give direct access to a lot of cash to banks, and they will give out further loans. So it will be a loan driven economy, but this is where we are heading. And as a result, जो भी consumption driven चीजें हैं, be it paints, be it जैसे आज even Indigo Airlines का stock, Interglobe Aviation, even that went up. Why? Because again, discretionary income is tried to be generated in this budget. This is a private spending kind of a budget. This is the first critical point that you must understand. So auto हो गया, जो भी consumption driven चीजें हैं, which is primarily domestic consumption based, that is going to help. Okay, so this is 2. Third, very important point, that up until the last 2 budgets, a lot of focus was कि you know what, government is going to spend money in defense, government is going to spend a lot of money in railways, government is going to spend a lot of money on infrastructure. So as a result, what has happened, and I'll just help you understand with numbers, that the growth rate of our tax collection has gone up by 20%. Growth rate of our GST for the year 2024 has gone up by 18%, but the growth rate of our GDP has only been 5.4%. Okay, so आपने tax 20% के आसपास collect कर लिया, that is the rate of growth of taxes, but the growth rate of GDP has not happened, right? So where exactly is your tax money going? Well, it's going in a wastage, right? And even the government has started realizing that, you know what, if we are just doing government related expenditure to accelerate economy, it's not working. It can only work when that results in positive capital expenditure. We'll probably make a separate video on that. But to cut the long story short here, the capital expenditure, the government oriented expenditure that the government was taking up until now, it has been kind of curved. This is again a very good positive move in the budget, that they are not going to expense, at least they have not increased the budget per se, which is good. So capex in 2026 is going to be lower or slightly lower than 2025. So this is a very positive step again from a market point of view. How does it impact the stock market? Railway stocks are likely to get stuck. PSUs, capital intensive industries, जैसे Oil India Limited, all these companies जो traditionally PSUs होती हैं. I'm not talking about public sector banks. I'm speaking about the general public sector units, right, which are in very infrastructure heavy segments. They are getting stuck. Okay, and yeah, so this is what I would say on this point. Next key point was regarding foreign direct investment hike to 100% on insurance companies. अभी तक ये 70% limit होती थी, 70 या 75 थी. Now it has been given to 100%, which means what? That a lot of foreign companies are going to come. They are going to make a play in the insurance sector in India. As a result, HDFC Life Insurance fell by roughly 3.5% today. The positive and negative side. The negative side is that, you know what, boss, a lot of competition will happen. But if you think about it, that who would foreign players collaborate with? Are they going to come to the Indian market and start creating new companies? No, they would look for opportunities to collaborate. And something like HDFC Life is actually going to benefit. ICICI, all these big groups, they are likely to benefit. More structurally speaking, hospitals are going to benefit. Why? Because a classic case study is the US, that in the US, insurance space is extremely organized. Almost everyone who avails like hospital treatment these days has an insurance. If you don't have an insurance, then you make a call not to get treated at all. So yeah, so that's the bottom line, right? What I would say on this bit, right? That insurance companies, with the opening up of FDI, foreign direct investments in the insurance space, the direction is given that, you know what, this sector is going to get heavily organized over the next 5 to 10 years, and everything will get linked to hospitals per se. Okay, so this is very important, which means that your hospital bills are going to go up, and that will be somewhat kind of offset by insurance. So insurance will become mandatory in a way. This is a big move. So if you're holding insurance companies, I cannot issue a recommendation. This is just like my take, that, you know, it does not make sense for anyone to sell per se. This is a good long-term play, owning insurance companies and owning hospitals in India, right? Very important bit. Okay. Fifth and final point, that overall macros of the economy, that post this budget, will our economy become good or bad? So for this, let's start the story from the top, that there were 2 or 3 critical challenges that the Indian economy was facing. Number one was a job crunch, that no high quality job or very few high quality jobs were coming up. Number two was a growth challenge, that our GDP was growing at 5.4, 5.6. And third was a return challenge. Return challenge means that foreign investors were not coming because Indian market was not giving them enough returns. Now you'll say, yeah, in the last 1 year, market has given a lot of run up. No, if you adjust it for the fall of INR, India has performed really badly, right? I have done a video earlier where I've compared the 10-year, 5-year, 1-year stock market returns of India versus the US. So that trend is unlikely to change. So these were 3 critical challenges that our economy was facing. Now the indication in this budget was, and in fact this is a pivotal budget, or this was a pivotal budget, it has already been presented. See, in the last 3 years, a lot of capital expenditure had been done by the government. Unfortunately, it has not generated results, and therefore the air of negativity that we are seeing up until now, it was primarily because of that so much taxes have been collected. But why is economy not growing despite the growth rate of taxes going up by 20-25%, all that stuff? So much GST collection has happened. Why is growth not coming, right? Now, in order to accelerate growth, you need to make fundamental changes. Have those fundamental changes been made in this budget? Yes and no. So the yes is that around MSME, manufacturing, some positive moves have been made. For example, the government has said that they will make lending easier, right? So 2 changes have been made. One is that if you run a medium or small business in India, you will be able to borrow relatively smoother credit, right? And शायद आपको थोड़े कम rate पे मिल जाएगा. I don't know. We'll have to read the fine print here. This is too premature. I have just made this. I've just gone through the budget speech. So उसमें details नहीं दी होती, right? So basically, the initial impressions are that it will become easier for small businesses to borrow money. bring a fundamental improvement in our economy. This is Part two is the fact that they are going to promote like entrepreneurship and all that stuff. वो सब चीजें चली रही थी, right? And hopefully उसमें थोड़ा सा impetus मिलेगा, and participation of FIIs will improve because of that. Now comes the natural question that which sectors are going to benefit from this budget and which sectors are going to kind of lose out from this budget. Then beneficial sectors are FMCG, banks, what I have been saying, right? And दिख भी रहा है वो, consumption, Zomato, Swiggy type companies. You will have loan companies which will do well, right? At this point, right? You will have auto, surprisingly, is likely to do well. In fact, picking some two-wheeler auto companies, all that stuff might be very beneficial. So I'll study this stream and give an updated commentary on my member community tomorrow. So these are 4, 5, 6 sectors which are going to likely to do well. Sectors which are going to, which might, out of which like money might come out. Railways, energy, I could not see like a lot of activity happening. वो तो budget में कुछ ना कुछ बोलती हैं, but it's not as if that anything pivotal has happened in this industry. You have public sector enterprise, infrastructure growth, whichever businesses are driven by like public expenditure. उसमें already there was a rally, right, which had happened in the last like 2022 के बाद, around 2021 के बाद. So now I don't think that any major kind of any tectonic shift is going to happen for the positive here. So be a little bit careful. If you're holding overvalued stock in these type of industries, you need to relook. Okay, that's it. So that's where we'll stop. I'll take some questions for like 10-15 minutes, and that would be it. So PVR has also gone up. That's again is a stock that benefits by people having some kind of discretionary income. It has gone up by 3-4% today. FMCG has already gone up. For example, Nestle went up by 7.5%. HUL went up by like 4%, something like this. EV, I'm not very bullish. IT, I'm not very bullish. My commentary has remained the same. I've said exact same thing. Within, like for example, FMCGs, some people were saying that, you know what, you sold DMart, this, that. By DMart bech diya. Where did I rotate that capital? That also you see, no. So I sold DMart to invest in Nestle, right? So it's not as if you know what, only DMart is running and Nestle is not running, something of that sort. So you need to really think that, okay, at what valuation you're holding something. So that's what I would say. Renewables, all this stuff are two uncooked stories right now. It requires a lot of innovation money. India market is a market which will be primarily consumption driven. Will FIIs start trusting the Indian market more after this budget? I don't think so. There is a very high scenario that the status quo will remain. Status quo means that for the last 4 years almost, FIIs have been withdrawing money out of the Indian market, and they will continue to do so because first and foremost, the Indian market now needs to regain foreign investors' trust that it is a profitable market for foreigners to be in, where they can actually generate wealth. But that is not happening. So I'm just giving you a very honest viewpoint on this. So that's it, right? So I mean, that's what my impressions are. It's consumption is going to improve from this point. Very simple viewpoint. But I don't think that structurally we have done anything massive, right, for us to benefit massively. ऐसा कुछ भी खास नहीं हुआ, right? So that's what I would say. It's not a bad budget. It's not a great budget. It's like average, right? Yeah, that's what I'd say. Okay, delivery, CDSL cams are good stocks, right? They have corrected quite a lot. So I would say IDFC First Bank again. IDFC First Bank finance stocks are likely to benefit after interest rate cut. Already indication has been given. For example, a circular came out roughly a week ago by RBI where they said that they are going to do liquidity management, which means that they are going to release more money into the economy via banks. So this is already announced, right? And specific dates have been given when X amount of liquidity will be added to the market. So this is already announced. It's not speculation anymore. The speculation that I'm doing is that the interest rates will be cut. When interest rates are cut, high beta stocks, for example, banks, your finance companies, which are 40% down from its peak, they are likely to rally. In fact, थोड़ी बहुत rally तो हो ही चुकी है. जैसे for example, Angel 1 में आज rally हुई थी, right? CDSL camps में भी थोड़ी बहुत rally चल रही है. So all these things are there. Okay. Railway stocks, I've never been an investor, right? I have 5% of them which are facing MFI stress. What do you think that this segment, should I keep it? See, the point is that good thing is that that this government is not okay. So this will I don't want to use the word. I don't want to rub like any political feathers here, but you have to look at it from a overall budget deficit perspective. See, almost 20% of our budget goes into loan repayment. Okay, so this is very high. Okay. Government has been responsible in terms of not getting us into a situation where our where we go into a situation where Indian economy is unable to repay its loans, okay, which is good news. ये MFI stress etc तब ज्यादा prominent होता है when we are not managing our fiscal deficit properly. So we are right now managing our fiscal deficit properly. Problem in India is that we are unable to generate enough growth for FIIs to come and actually invest their money. So this is where the problem lies. Okay, so Geo Finance is a good stock, guys. I mean, it's valuation आपने कितने में खरीदा, that's the point. If you have bought it at the right valuation, even now you would not be down. I'm like 2-3% down on Geo Finance. It's not as if अब किसी ने peak पे खरीदा है, वो गिर गया है. It's a high volatile stock. Of course, it will fall. Right. So yeah, that's the point. Okay. Geo Finance upside. Will the FD interest rate be affected? See, FD interest rate, when interest rates are cut, of course, FD interest rates are likely to go down. Right. Paint industry, again, as I said, that Asian Paints, for example, it has gone up today by 4.5%, something like this, right? So it is benefiting. So paint industry, already bad sentiment are absorbed in. Asian Paints has come up. So the likely scenario is that, for example, around like Diwali quarter, results we will get published and all that stuff. So उसमें भी अच्छे number आएंगे. SBI cards, again, good stock. HDFC, good stock. I would say. Okay, so Axis is, yeah, सारे banks इकट्ठे ही जाएंगे, right? So I mean, that's the point. Green energy, I'm not very bullish. Hindustan Zinc, all that not very bullish. Pharma से better है, direct hospitals खरीद लो, so that is a better opportunity there. Okay. Ujjivan Small Finance, Bandhan Banks, these are all small finance banks. Even HDFC, Kotak are still stuck, I would say. So with time, I mean, as the banking sector में bullishness आएगी, because now money will get rotated from index, from certain types of stocks, which I have spoken about, which are capex dependent, into consumption dependent. Interest rate cut over. So most likely scenario is that money is going to come into private banks. Okay, so yeah, and small finance bank. Okay, when to sell Nifty 50 when your technical target is met. Okay, so अब कल नहीं हो जाएगा कि जस्ट आज बजट आया तो कल आप बेच दो, right? इतनी जल्दी ग्रोथ नहीं होती. Okay, so right. Okay, so I'll take like maybe 2-3 more questions and then we end. Income tax is nil till 12 lakhs when they have mentioned slabs. Guys, this is like CA level work, right? I mean, I'll not comment. Let the fine print come out. Then you will have enough CAs make videos around it. Exactly, 12 lakh mein. Some people are saying that if you are availing some kind of capital gains, then you cannot offset it again. 100 loopholes are there. So I'll refrain from commenting. But what they have tried to do is then they have tried to give discretionary income to people. Okay. Airline stock, यार कोई भी consumption खरीद लो. For example, I personally do not invest in airlines because I consider it to be risky. A lot of fluctuations happen if the aviation turbine fuel prices / petrol prices change. Tax structure of airport changes. So I typically do not buy those. Right? I would rather play with something like a safer cards company, right? Something like that, right? So depends on which type of consumption stock you wish to buy. Okay. Tata Motors, I will not buy, right? Personally speaking, right? Why? Because it had already gone up quite a lot, right? A better bet, because see, one key indicator is that this is the domestic consumption play. Now, I don't know. The domestic consumption play for Tata Motors from an EV point of view is pretty much over. I don't see it like getting further benefits out of it. So I would personally refrain. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay. Oyo is a good stock, I would say. Good construction companies. No, I'll not buy. Like, guys, I mean, see, you can make money from anything that you like. I'm a macro investor. I'll invest in areas which I understand. I'm very happy with my portfolio. My portfolio is still doing well. Okay, so despite all of this. Okay. Okay, housing sector. Okay. Yeah, SW Solar is a small cap or micro cap company in a way. Please do not worry too much about it. You have to look at broad portfolio. Okay. If a small cap, mid cap, now entire small cap index has corrected by, there are stocks like CDSL which has corrected by 40%. Geo Finance from its peak has corrected by 40%. Reliance had corrected by 25-30%. Now if Reliance itself, which is the SW Solar who owns like a significant stake, Reliance. Now the parent company, which is a multi-billion-dollar company, that itself has corrected by 25-30%. Why do you think the small cap company, a sister company, will not correct by 35-40%? It will, right? So it's not as if that only SW Solar is correcting and Reliance is not correcting. Entire Reliance Group stocks are correcting. Okay. 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 So Star Health. Okay, yeah. So there are good. I'll write a note tomorrow, right, on member community regarding healthcare stocks, right? So I'll give you more updates there. Motilal Oswal is fine. A lot of negativity has happened on the stocks, so maybe it will consolidate a little bit and then it will come up. Okay, so guys, so Bitcoin ETF, I only buy Bitcoin. I don't buy Bitcoin ETF. US stocks, I'm investing a lot. CUB is a very good stock. Okay, so yeah, इस तरीके से बहुत सारे questions हो जाएंगे. So I hope that this was sensible, right? You were able to at least understand the broad viewpoint. AMC stocks are fine. There is no problem with AMC stocks. You have to make a call that whether you want to diversify internationally. I personally will be. I'll be building a fairly big portfolio in the US, right? So starting this year, I've already started doing that, right? But this year, starting this year, I'll be like almost 40-45% US stock holder, right, and 50 to 60% India stockholder, and I'll make a move. Okay, so I hope that this was useful, right, and you guys were able to pick something new. And we'll end the chat here, otherwise it will become really long. And I'll see you the next time. Thank you.